Hey guys, again, I'm not going to be there today. I got a really short video for you though. Not anything that's going to take up too much of your time today, but I really need you guys to go back and get some of that other stuff done that we haven't gotten done yet. Okay? We're going to be going forward with this, and we're going to really kind of build upon everything that we've done so far. So I need that stuff done, caught up, ready to go. All right. Right now the schedule looks like, well, you guys have a full day today, which was news to me yesterday. And basically what we are going to be doing is you guys are going to take today's class and make sure that you are 100% caught up. And I know for some of you guys, you are. Others, meanwhile, will be making sure that they are getting everything done. Monday, when I get back, we're going to take the day and we are going to review. And we're going to review a lot of stuff. Tuesday, we're going to review not as much stuff. And then Wednesday, you guys will take your second quiz and we'll officially be done with Unit 1. Then we'll get into kind of more of the nuts and bolts and ideas in economics rather than the hard line stuff that we've been doing so far. Once we do that, we'll have a couple cool things. We'll be doing a research project in there, and that will go really well. I know that. So, elasticity is what I'm here to talk to you guys about today. And elasticity is basically whether a good is a luxury good or not, whether a service is a luxury service or not. If we simply look at it that way, we miss some of the more detailed information. But that's the easy way. And it's a really easy way to think of it. So let's get going. Elasticity is the measure of how responsive an economic variable, such as supply or price, responds to a change in a different variable, such as supply or demand. Okay, so got a picture of rubber bands here, because rubber bands, elastic, right? I can stretch that rubber band as far as I want. If I let go, I might shoot it. I can keep stretching it, and it might break, right? But I don't know. And that's what the markets do when we look at elasticity. When we're looking at elasticity, we are simply measuring what is going to happen. If I change this one little piece, what is going to happen next? So we look at that and we kind of view that as a way to kind of really know what's going on in the market or what's going to happen if we change something. Let's say I want to know, well, I'm having a hard time supplying this amount. If I raise the price this much, what's going to happen to my quantity demanded? Or, hey, we're supplying too much. What's going to happen if I lower the supply? All right. So examples would be, if I increase the price of my product, how much product will I sell? Will I still be able to make the same amount of money or more money if I do that? Or if I decrease the price, how much will I sell? How much money will I lose? Okay. So elasticity, I love to think of in a couple different ways. All right, rubber bands, great example, okay? And we're going to talk a little bit more about that on the next couple slides. But elasticity is simply measured in two ways. An item is elastic or inelastic. There's not a whole lot of middle ground here. It's pretty straightforward. And I think you guys will be getting this like no other. So elastic, it responds, okay? Inelastic, it basically doesn't respond as much. It responds, but not as much, right? I love to use the analogy, all right? You can put a ton of stuff in sweatpants, right? They're going to stretch, they're going to go out, they're going to fit. They have that elastic waistband, right? And you can keep stuff in it. The same goes for tights now. Apparently leggings and tights, that's the new cool thing, okay? You can keep putting stuff in there. Is it going to look great? No. It's not, but you can keep putting stuff in there, right? If I went into a store and I wanted to try to steal something, I could stuff sweatpants a lot more full of things than I could, say, a pair of jeans. Sweatpants, elastic, they hold more. Jeans, not elastic, or inelastic, they hold less. Elastic items respond to the proportional relationship in a more gentle line. So if I move something, right, I'm going to see a more gentle sloped line there. So more horizontal than vertical, okay? Or more quantity access than price access when we look at this, right? So An elastic item is greater than 1 when it comes to slope, and that's kind of really the way to look at it. Slope doesn't have everything to do with it, but for our purposes and the purposes of this class, slope is a good enough determinant for elasticity. All right? So elastic items tend to be luxury items. You know, going to Starbucks, going to get something that is, you know, my nails done. Not that I get my nails done, but if I did, you guys know what I mean, okay? You guys can laugh at that one. An inelastic item is one that's much steeper, okay? So it is a line that is steep. It's not gentle, it's steep. It's usually closer to 1 if it's inelastic. These would be items like milk. These would be items like gasoline. We're not breaking away from these things. We keep using these things. They're things that are important. They're things that we depend upon. And we need to realize that those items tend to be inelastic. Whereas luxury items like a morning coffee or something like that might be elastic. Elastic goods are the goods that we tend to not truly need. Maybe things that are extravagant, okay? You know, you got food at home, but you want to go out to eat. That might be an elastic good, okay? If the price changes on an elastic good, we'll be less likely to purchase that good at a higher price. So the quantity demanded would be a little bit lower, okay? We're not going to purchase things that are expensive if we don't need them. You know, there are exceptions to the rule, of course. You know, do you really need a cell phone? Do you really need a big screen television? Do you really need those things? Yet we still go out and purchase those. But for the most part, if it's not a necessity to survive, economists tend to show that we buy less of those goods at higher prices. The price elasticity of demand is basically the relationship between the quantity demanded and the change in price. If it's elastic, there'll be a greater impact, and that will be measured by a more horizontal line. If it's inelastic, there won't be much of a change, and that's going to be a steeper line. So when we look at this kind of stuff, it's important that we come to the realization that elastic and price elasticity of demand respond to a change in price or a change in supply. It's a way that we can kind of look at those things and see how they work. And as we go forward, we're going to talk about what it means to be inelastic and price elasticity of supply. Inelastic goods are goods that we depend on. You know, like I said before, gasoline. You know, maybe you really need caffeine every morning to get going. Maybe you have an addiction to cigarettes. You know, that could be one of those things that you need that you're going to spend the money on, right? These are these essential items that you guys find that are absolutely needed, okay? If the price changes on an inelastic good, we'll be more likely to purchase that at a higher price. Gasoline. I hate paying for gasoline in the first place, but I hate paying more than $3 for gasoline. When I started driving 12 years ago, gasoline was on about $1.25. And, you know, this summer we might hit $5. But you know what? It's not really going to stop people from moving about in their cars. Because the other options, ride a bike, walk, take public transit, most people don't do that. Most people depend on their cars. And sometimes public transit doesn't get us to where we need, or we live too far away, right? Gas would be an inelastic good. Meanwhile, a more elastic good might be something like, again, morning coffee or takeout food that you order. Stuff like that. Stuff that's not necessary for you to survive, but you enjoy. So as we see that, you know, we'll be less likely to purchase those things at a lower price if they're elastic. Price elasticity of demand basically, or excuse me, price elasticity of supply basically shows us the relationship between quantity supplied and a change in price. If it is elastic, there'll be a great impact, and we'll measure that with a horizontal line. If it's inelastic, there won't be much of a change. All right? So again, in closing, these are very important things that we're going to be doing. Just to kind of understand the demand and the elasticity and the supply and the elasticity, we're going to continue building upon it. So I just want to review with you guys one last time when we go through and do this, is that Elasticity is the responsiveness of a change in a variable in economics. Change the supply, change the price, change the demand. How's it going to respond? How's the market going to respond? Right? An elastic good, it's going to respond greatly. An inelastic good, it's not going to respond very greatly. Okay? And again, my sweatpants analogy or my tights analogy. Okay? You can always keep stuffing more in there if it's elastic, if it's stretchy. Meanwhile, a pair of jeans only holds so much. Okay? So up next, guys, you guys are going to have some practice problems I'd like you to work on. And as you guys are working on that, I'd like you guys to identify basically if you think a good is elastic or inelastic. Those are opinion questions. You guys can't be, you really can't be wrong on those as long as you're writing down those options. Then there'll be a short quiz online. I'd like you guys to take 70% mastery. I'll try to get those back to you guys in the afternoon so that you guys know. Going forward, next week, we'll be looking at some review time to make sure that we've got everything down before our quiz. If you guys finish early today, feel free to work on that study guide. And remember, 10 percentage point bonus on our next quiz if you complete that study guide. And that could be the difference between having to do test corrections and not having to do test corrections. So let's make sure that we are getting our work done today and have a wonderful weekend. Be ready for Spirit Week next week.